What is going on, Huckleberries and Patriots? Let me just warn you, today's going to be a little bit different. Not going to be happy-go-lucky. This isn't going to be a video that's going to tickle your ears. If you're that kind of person that likes to watch those 2 or 3 minute videos that are shallow for the sound bites, that has no depth, then this video is not going to be for you. But if you're someone that loves America, that cares about our Constitution, that's paying attention to what's going on, and that is heartbroken because so many people are still asleep, then you're going to want to stick around because we're going to dive into that. But I can't blame the people that are asleep because I was once that person. I supported Bush back whenever I was 21, 22 years old. I thought that what happened after 9/11 was justified. I thought everyone wants to talk about Afghanistan. You know what happened in Afghanistan? I actually did a video about this. I'm going to bring it up again. I want you to imagine for a moment that there was someone from a gang that drove their vehicle into your house and the house exploded or the house caught fire. Your house was destroyed. And so you decide that you want justice. And let's say that the gang that actually drove that vehicle into your house was the Crips. Okay, that's a gang that we're all familiar with. And so in order to get justice, you decide, you know what? I'm going to go after the Bloods. Was it the Bloods that ran a vehicle into your house? No, it was the Crips. Why are you going after the Bloods? Same freaking thing happened in Afghanistan. Do you know who was responsible for 9/11? Depending on your theory about that. Supposedly Al-Qaeda. And what do? We go to Afghanistan. Problem is, who's in Afghanistan? The Taliban, not Al-Qaeda. The Taliban wasn't responsible for what happened on September the 11th. It was Al-Qaeda. And then guess what? We go into Iraq. We use that as an excuse. I supported Bush. Why? Well, because he's a Republican. I'm a Republican. This is what we do, ain't it? We just support Republicans. And you know the problem is that I experienced firsthand in 2011 when the man that should have gotten the Republican nomination, and that's Ron Paul, got screwed. So yeah, I know what it's like to feel like my vote doesn't count. I know what it's like to just want to ignore everything and go on about life. I know what that's like. And so if that's you, I hope that either you've already been red-pilled or you're in the process of being red-pilled, and maybe today can be a seed in that process. But last Thursday, September the 9th, 2 days before 9/11, we have this guy with dementia, and he calls himself the president, which is Joe Biden. He addresses the nation. I want to read you a couple of quotes about what he says. He says, "We've been patient, but our patience is running thin." Wow, really? You've been patient? Excuse me? You've been patient? Joe Biden? No, that sounds like a threat. But we'll talk about that here in a minute. Another quote. "If these governors won't help us beat the pandemic," yeah, follow the science. So this experimental jab in masks that, well, you got to wear 1, then 2, then 3, then back to 1. And on the very packaging, it says they don't work. Yeah, beat the pandemic, my butt. "If these governors won't help us beat the pandemic, I'll use my power as president," you mean as dictator, "to get them out of the way. Here's the thing, Joe Biden, and I will not call you president. Here's the thing, Sleepy Joe, you don't have that power. Your power is limited. It's not your job to keep us safe, Mr. Biden. It's your job and your supposed role and your supposed position to protect our rights. That's it." Call yourself a president. You're a dictator. That's what you are. You have zero power. Zero. Or does he? We'll talk about that here in a minute as well. So here's some of the mandates, okay? All federal workers and contractors must be vaccinated. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little disappointed because apparently Congress, that there is an exception or an exemption for Congress. Wonder why that is. So I guess that means that I can't be a martyr. That whenever I go to Washington, I can't make a stink because I'm going to refuse to get the vaccine. But we'll see what happens whenever I refuse to wear a mask. All healthcare workers at Medicare and Medicaid hospitals must be vaccinated. Here's one that's going to impact a lot of people, and I've got a couple of recommendations for you. All employers with 100 or more employees must require vaccines or weekly testing. What? So you're telling me that a small business owner, and yes, according to the Small Business Administration, a small business is 499 employees or less, that a small business owner has to mandate that their employees, who not only do they depend on to run their business, to create products and services for the market, to be able to serve the marketplace, and for them to put food on their table, you're not only going to require them to either get vaccines, but you're also going to require them, if they don't, to be tested to have that thing just jabbed up their nostril every single week. Guys, if that doesn't piss you off, guys, I don't know what will. That is tyranny. That is the definition of tyranny. Now, I've got a couple of things that I want to say, a couple of action points, if you will, before we continue. Number one, if you are a business with 100 or more employees, you need to start shell companies with less than 100 employees. Don't give in to the tyranny. Fight back. Yeah, I know it's going to be difficult. I know it's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. But freedom isn't free. Excuse my language. Freedom isn't free. When are we going to wake up that until we step out of our normal routine of things and do something different and start to fight back and start to push back, then nothing's going to change. So be willing to put in the work. Start shell companies with 100 employees, or if you really care about your employees. If you don't, then join dictator Biden and his regime. Now, for everyone else, do not comply. Do not comply. Make them fire you. Don't quit. Don't resign. Make them fire you. And then take action. It sucks. It sucks, I know. And maybe you think I'm full of crap. And maybe you think I'm, not being realistic. Let me tell you how realistic I'm being. So this is a quote from a Hungarian Jew from the documentary The Last Days. And this ought to shake you to your core. People wonder, how is it that we didn't do something? Now, just so that you guys know, the Hungarian Jews, and I'm not trying to be a smart aleck here, but with the school systems the way that they are, I don't even know if they still teach about the Holocaust and World War II and what happened, the Nazis and Hitler. Do they? People wonder, how is it that we didn't do something? We didn't run away. We didn't hide. Well, things didn't happen all at once. Things happened very slowly. So each time a new law came out or a new restriction, we said, well, it's just another thing. See, I was that guy. I understand. It'll blow over. I wonder how many of you watching today, or maybe you know someone that's saying, well, yeah, it sucks, it was just another thing. It'll blow over. Because we've had this American privilege for so long that we think, oh, it'll never happen here. When we had to wear the yellow star to be outside, we started to worry. Guys, what's it going to take? Seriously, what's it going to take? And yeah. I was like, well, that's a Texit. That's why we got to take the Texas needs to exit the union. That's Texit. Guys, Let's get real for a second. I hate to burst your bubble. 36 districts here in Texas. You know how many of them actually have conservative representation? 13. Hoo-hoo, keep Texas red. Texas ain't red. At least, not that we can tell. Now, I do have sources that Texas is a lot more red than you think it is. And if you think that the fraud that's happened in Arizona, Georgia, they don't have anything on Texas. That's why I've been calling for an audit of the Texas election for several months now. But guys, corruption, if you think that there's not corruption within even the state government here in Texas, you got another thing coming. Not only that, but as a Texan, someone that was born here, raised here, and that will die here, the word quit is not in my vocabulary. I'm not going to tuck tail and run just because things get tough. That's not the way that I was raised. And you know what? The Pledge of Allegiance says one nation under God, indivisible. Either those words mean something to you or not. Those words actually mean something to me as a man of principle. Not only that, but the friends and family that have served the United States military, those that have died and given their life for the red, white, and blue. I'm just supposed to say, F that. Texit. Meanwhile, I have a brother who is serving in the United States military. He's not stationed here. Well, I'm supposed to say, well, screw him. No, let's get real. We need to stand up and fight. But we need to wake people up. So how oblivious are people today? Maybe even here in Texas. So quick shout out to Walter West. Walter is a Green Beret with the United States Army. And I got a text message from Walter. And thank you for your service, brother. I got a text message from Walter a couple nights ago. And Sandra Whitten, okay, who is running for Congress in Congressional District 28. Now, Sandra Whitten is the real deal. All right? She's like your boy here. She don't take crap from anybody. She stands on principle over politics, right? She's not politically correct. She's patriotically correct. She cares about her district. Guys, I want to read that text message to you because it broke my heart. This is the text message I received from Walter. I'm going to try not to choke up while I'm reading it. Sandra shook hands with Henry Cuellar at a funeral in Laredo. They agreed to make sure we work to leave no one behind. In this mess of the dead Marine having a disorganized funeral will not be tolerated again. John Cornyn attended with his wife. I'm not going to lie, I was actually shocked because Cornyn, not good for Texas. He's a rhino through and through. John Cornyn attended with his wife, as did the mayor and the county judge, of which we love them both. Now, what's being referenced here is the funeral that was had here recently in Laredo, Texas, and it was the memorial for Lance Corporal David Lee Espinoza. And he was one out of 13 service members who was killed in Afghanistan, 20 years old. This is his funeral, guys. No other elected officials attended the dead Marine's funeral or helped fill the half-filled church. Half the seats were empty. This is what pisses me off. Again, we're talking about being oblivious. Texas A&M International University closed down for George Floyd's funeral, but for Lance Corporal David Espinoza, they made a Facebook post and let folks know there might be traffic Are you kidding me? A criminal? George Floyd was a criminal. He's not a hero, but yet we praise him, or at least people have praised him like he's some kind, naming a school after a criminal in Houston. Texas A&M International University, sure, setting a nice precedence, closing down for Floyd's funeral, but just creating a little simple Facebook post for someone who actually was a hero, for someone who died serving his country. You know, I think about, I watched, Sandra, I don't know if you know this, but I watched your live video that you did during the parade. And there was a song that came on. Lee Greenwood. I had an amazing chance to meet Lee Greenwood last year, a year ago, 9/11, at a Proud to Be an American event we did here at the Montgomery County Fairgrounds. And I lose it every time I hear that song. But I think about the words, I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. So I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. There ain't no doubt. I love this land. God bless the USA. Or at least I know I'm free. Guys, with everything that's going on right now, freedom ain't free. Liberty is being stripped from the American people. And we become so oblivious that we raise criminals up to be heroes. Meanwhile, the real heroes, we just treat them like they're garbage. Half-filled church for someone who gave their life for our nation. Guys, when is enough going to be enough? Is it going to take you not being able to own land anymore? Is it going to be whenever they're throwing you in the back of trucks to haul you to a concentration camp and you're like, well, man, I think it's about time we do something. What's it going to take, America, to wake up? I want to give another quick shout out because there was a video that was shared in our private Facebook group by Heather Adams, and just want to give you a shout out. Thank you for sharing that video. I actually did a little bit of research on Heather, and she served as an avionics electrician for the Army. So I definitely want to say thank you for your service as well. But this was a quote that came from Thomas Jefferson. And this quote really lays it out. What country can preserve its liberties if their rulers are not warned from time to time that their people preserve the spirit of resistance? Let them take arms. The tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants. Guys, freedom's not free. Do not comply. Resist. As a matter of fact, I want to invite you to go to jamesonellis.com/resist. And I'll also make sure that I put this in the comments below. Sign that petition to let Joe Biden and his cronies in Washington know we will not comply. You know, I was on Twitter the other day. I don't spend a whole lot of time on Twitter, but there are some people I like to follow. One of those is Thomas Sowell. And he lays this out just as beautifully as Thomas Jefferson did. He says, it doesn't matter what rights you have under the Constitution if the government can punish you for exercising those rights. And it doesn't matter what limits the Constitution puts on government officials' power if they can exceed those limits without any adverse consequences. In other words, the Constitution cannot protect you if you don't protect the Constitution with your votes against anyone who violates it. Those government officials who want more power are not going to stop unless they get stopped. Arbitrary power is ugly and vicious, regardless of what pious rhetoric goes with it. Freedom is not free. You have to fight for it or lose it. But is our generation up to fighting for it? Are you up to fighting for it? Are you willing to stop selfishly focusing? And again, I may not be talking to you. I might be talking with you. Okay? But I'm about to get real, because all day, every day, everywhere, all I see are people that are so self-absorbed and they're so concerned about their own selfish desires of what's going on this weekend. You want to go see the movie? Well, I got little Timmy and little Susie's soccer game. Oh, I hope they get their participation trophy. Right? We're worried about things that mean absolutely in this life. And we're oblivious to the fact that our liberties and our freedoms are being stripped right out from underneath our noses. And before you know it, you will be thrown in the back of that truck. You will have no more rights. You will not be able to own land. Because all of a sudden, this Marxist ideology, which you chose to ignore and act like didn't exist, all of a sudden leads us to the path to communism and this globalist agenda. Guys, freedom isn't free. You better wake the hell up. Wake up. Because if we don't, we'll be living in a post-America America. And so if you want someone to represent you in Washington that believes in the Constitution, that's going to stand on principle over politics, that's going to put people before profit. If you want someone from Texas that's going to tell it like it is, that's not going to mince words, someone who loves the Constitution of the United States, someone who knows the Constitution, and someone who will never vote to violate the Constitution, someone that's going to fight to restore liberty, then I want to invite you to follow the campaign. Follow what we're doing. Get to know me. I say this all the time. Talk is cheap. And you know what? There are several candidates in this race that are going to tell you what you want to hear. And that's the problem, right? We have candidates. Some of them are celebrity candidates. Some of them have more degrees than a thermometer. But where has that gotten us? I'll tell you where it's gotten us. It's gotten us to a point where we have 435 voting members of the House with only 40 with having conservative voting records. That's what happens whenever you vote for somebody just because they're a celebrity or because their brother was famous or because they have more degrees than a thermometer or because they've been grooming themselves for years to run. And all you got to do is look at their history. Look at their track record. Were they a campaign manager before? Were they associated with other campaigns? Have they been softening up the district? Right? Have they been trying to build a name for themselves? Because when you vote for those people, all you're going to get is more of the same. I don't care what BS comes out of their mouth. What we need regular patriots, regular people that love Texas, that love America, working class citizens, small business owners, people that are going to go to Washington and represent you and your Texas values for a limited time. I myself am committed to only 8 years in Congress, 4 terms. That's it. I believe in term limits. And I believe that we need statesmen in office. And so if I'm the kind of candidate that you're looking for, if what I'm saying is resonating with you, be skeptical. Be skeptical of every single flippin' candidate in this race or those that might announce in the next month. And instead, I want to invite you to get to know the candidates. So I'm inviting you to get to know me. Get to know my heart. Listen to me. Watch me. Meet me one-on-one for coffee, for tea, for lunch. Host me in your home at what we call a Huckleberry house party. Invite 5, 10, 15, 20 of your friends and family into your home. Let me come in and meet you. Get to know what's most important to you in the district, how I can best represent you in Washington, and get to know my heart and make sure that I am the person that I claim to be. Make every single candidate earn your vote the same way that I hope to earn your vote. Go to jamesonellis.com to follow the campaign. Also, jamesonellis.com/resist to sign our petition to let Joe Biden know that we will not comply. Sam Houston once said, "A nation divided against itself cannot stand." It's only together can we win this fight to restore liberty, refund the police, and make America, America again. Love you guys. God bless.